Good evening and Happy New Year to Businesses Enterprise. It's the second part of our look back at the year, look back at the businesses that have been in the studios, the things we have found out, and the people that we have met. At the beginning of last month, we had what is allegedly our toughest budget yet, because the budget later on this year, yes, there will be another budget this year, although it won't be till the end of the year. It's allegedly not going to be as difficult, A, because I suppose we've met some targets, but B, because we'll be facing into the local election. So the cynic in me says, yes, they'll probably be a slightly easier budget. But last year's budget was tough, and a lot of detail went into it, and we were lucky on budget night to have in the studio here Con Dolan, who is a certified public accountant. He came in, looked at all the figures, simplified it, and showed us where we were going to win and where we were going to, just where we were going to lose. I forgot we'd no winners in that budget. But here's Con, just having a look at some of the figures involved.
This is one of the, it is taking money, taking 3.5 billion out of the economy in terms of additional taxes and spending cuts. So in that sense, it's not a good budget. Having said that, there are many areas within the budget which provide cause for hope, and we see quite a number of measures where they are pointed at stimulating activity, stimulating new jobs. So yes, I would be hopeful that it is a budget that can create a difference and make a difference.
What are some of the headline issues?
The main headlines in it are that in terms of basic taxes, income taxes, there hasn't been any change in income tax rates or tax credits, which is good news. In terms then of PRSI, there have been some changes there in order to broaden the base for PRSI. So there are additional items of income and new sectors of people who will have to pay PRSI in the future who have not been caught for PRSI in the past. As an example, I would instance PAYE earners who will now be liable for tax in a situation where they have a rented property. So in that sense, new persons caught. Universal social charge, the base for universal social charge has also been broadened, and one of the sectors that has been pulled in there are some of our older members of our population who had a cap at 4% for PRSI on their earnings in excess of €15,000. They're now going to be subject to universal social charge at the normal rate, same rate as everybody else. So there has been an equalisation there.
You just said that there's no increase in tax. Sorry, I know you mean tax rates, but at the end of the day, I suppose for convenience, they have tax split up into tax, PRSI, and universal service. What's
universal social charge.
Social charge.
Yes.
It's not a tax.
It is all tax.
I suppose if everything was put in as tax, and like our standard rate of tax was whatever it is, 50 odd or 20 odd, when you include them in, people would kind of then know what's really happening. But the government, and I say that as a card-carrying member of Fine Gael, are boasting that, well, we haven't touched the tax rates. But what people are paying is going up. So it's really on the smoke and mirrors.
To an extent, yes.
Enterprise Week, I suppose, if you're in business, is every week. But for 1 week last year, it was Bank of Ireland Enterprise Week. And Sean Smith, a Bank of Ireland manager, came in, talked to us about Enterprise Week. He gave us a little insight in the funding that was becoming available and what we as business owners could do if we were looking for funding from the bank, where we could go, and more importantly, what we had to bring when we went looking for it. Now, this week, as we all know, is Enterprise Week, And with us this evening is Sean Smith of Bank of Ireland, who's going to tell us exactly what the bank is doing about Enterprise Week. Sean, you're very welcome to Business.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Let me settle something. First of all, is it National Enterprise Week, or is it a specific Bank of Ireland Enterprise Week?
It's we call it as National Enterprise Week, but it's initiated by Bank of Ireland. So it started on the 16th of November, which was last Friday, and it runs to the 23rd of November. So if you were to walk into any of the Bank of Ireland branches today, you will see a National Enterprise Week happening in those branches.
Now, how if I walked into a Bank of Ireland branch tomorrow, which I might, just check it out, see that you're not pulling a fast one, what will I see that would let me know it is Enterprise Week?
Absolutely. Well, I suppose just to give you a sense of what it's all about, I suppose it's in its 5th year. And it started out really where it was an opportunity for small to medium-sized businesses to come along and showcase their goods and services throughout our retail branches. So if you were to walk into the Bank of Ireland in Cavan tomorrow, what you will see is some small and medium-sized businesses from the locality who will be on display, who will have their goods and services available. And it's an opportunity for them to advertise, and obviously a great opportunity for them to promote their business. So it's been phenomenal success, and any business that we have done it and been there in the past have found it a great success. So we've extended that out in different years and run different clinics and seminars, etc., as part of it as well. But that's really the main bulk of it. It's about showcasing their business in our branches.
Now, obviously, as you said, those who got to showcase their business in the branches, it's a huge boost. The amount of people coming into the branch will see them, will know what they do, might get coverage out of it. But how did they get picked?
Well, what we do is obviously we have a lot of existing business customers who we would notify of the event that's coming up. It runs twice every year, one in November and May. So we kind of promote it locally. We promote it through our newspapers and the national newspapers. We promote it through TV, etc. And we've also a number of websites available for it. But generally speaking, it's through communicating with businesses. But we've seen now an awful lot of our non-bank customers who have come on board, and we very welcome non-bank business customers, because again, as I said to you, it's about really giving the small to medium-sized business an opportunity to promote. So it's really through communicating with the businesses in the locality that we've been able to bring them on board, and we find now that an awful lot of them keep coming back to us looking to get a space at the branch. So it's going really, really well. And
it's probably the same people who do come back, because there are certain businesses, now whether it's not needless to say, not all, it wouldn't be suitable to all businesses, but there are some businesses that I'm sure you said, by the way, it's Enterprise Week, would you like to put a stand, show your wares, let everybody know what you do? You could be there for the week, we'll give you a stat, display, the whole lot. Would you like that? No, that wouldn't be my type of business. I'm sure there are a lot of people will just balk at that opportunity, whereas other people who are on the ball, every year they say, can we come back, can we come back?
Absolutely, because I suppose, and in a sense that, nowadays we'd all have to say that businesses are looking for any way possible to showcase their business. And funny when you say we have ran, and over the last twice since we've done it before, is around teams each day. So you're a business, we might have 3 businesses per day in our branches, and we've maybe set up a team where it might be something to do with arts and crafts, it might be to do with Christmas, it might be to do with the car dealership, it might be to do with retail, food, etc. So we ran with different teams, and yeah, you have a lot of businesses who will come back, but then again, through communication, and those businesses going out communicating has allowed other businesses to come back and look for a slot on it. So it's growing and growing every year, and we're delighted to say that it's something that we've been able to promote over the last couple of years, and it's getting stronger and stronger, and that's why through time we'll probably expand it out to certain seminars, clinics, etc. And it's an opportunity for us to communicate with business, because that's all what business want to do.
So, in other words, is that mainly what goes on at the moment anyway, the Enterprise Week, is the opportunity for business to showcase, and there isn't those seminars, because as I'm sure you saw from outside, we were chatting there to Anne Sheehy about the importance of marketing, and of course she brought up sort of everything is a cost, and training is a cost. There's no seminars at the moment running either in the branches or separate from the branches around Enterprise Week to, we say, a one-day sales seminar or a one-day customer services seminar.
Well, the typical type of seminars we have run in Cavan over the last couple of years, and we're running one particularly in the agricultural business, I suppose it's an opportunity for small to medium-sized business to come along to, I suppose, a Q&A session. We've also tried to bring some iconic figures in business. And as you know, Bank of Ireland support the Dragon's Den, which has been a phenomenal success for us as well. And this year we've been using the Dragon's Den, and we have those, what you would call dragons, very much on board, running those seminars around with the likes of Gavin Duffy, etc. We had this year as well, and just be a little bit different than from the other years. We've gone with what we call a Juniors Dragon's Den, because this year we felt that we should be looking to the young entrepreneurs of the future, and there's an amazing amount of activity goes on in our secondary schools. So what we did was we set up regional finals to identify 10 national finalists to go on for the last 2 shows of the Dragon's Den. So they will go on to the set of Dragon's Den in front of the Dragons and promote their initiatives, their ideas, etc., with the chance of winning €2,000. So that is something different that we're doing through Dragon's Den and Enterprise Week.
Now, we see it on the ads every night on the TV. Bank of Ireland wants to lend lots of money. Now, I assume the criteria has changed dramatically in the past decade or so, and it obviously is harder to get money than it was. If I'm going in tomorrow to look for a loan, what is the bank looking for?
I'd probably disagree with you, Colin, in saying that the criteria has changed. I suppose the attitude and approach has changed an awful lot than in the past, both from Bank of Ireland, from the bank side, and also from the customer side and the business owner side. I suppose the important piece around how we say that we are here to lend business, because people must remember we are a business. We make money from lending money, so we have to be lending money, and it's important to identify that we are here to lend, and we will lend. We have the capital to lend, and we will continue to lend.
Earlier in the year, we had Marcella Rudden in from the County Enterprise Board talking to us about how established businesses and how start-up businesses could be helped by the Enterprise Board. I thought before we start talking about the boring stuff of the Cavan County Enterprise Board, let's find out who is Marcella Rudden. And don't mess my interview up and just say, me.
No. I work with Cavan Enterprise Board, as you know, Colin. I'm there for over 10 years. I work as the business advisor there. I'm part of a team of people there. I work with Jim Fox, who's the assistant CEO, and Vincent Reynolds, who is the chief executive officer, and various other project staff that work there on other cross-border programmes that you'd be familiar with, Colin, over the years. I'm originally from Cavan. I live in Kellishandra, and I'm here to talk about what it's like to set up in business and what the Enterprise Board does.
Well, not a bad way to start it off. What are some of the services that Cavan County Enterprise Board, and I assume it would be the same for enterprise boards throughout the country, what services do they offer fledgling businesses?
Yes, there are at the moment there are 35 CBs across the country, so there's one in every county, and some counties obviously have more than one. Dublin, Waterford, Limerick would have a county and a city enterprise board. We all broadly provide the same type of services. We were set up in 1993, and at the time it was felt there was a gap in the market for an agency, a local government agency, for a specific type of business that wasn't being serviced correctly, and the government felt that in particular for manufacturing and international tradable services that there was a gap there in the services that were currently being provided. So the enterprise boards were set up with a small team of people to provide supports, both what we call soft supports and financial supports, to small micro businesses. So we deal with businesses less than 10 people, and that ranges from financial assistance, from training programs, from mentoring mentoring, and various other initiatives. Of course, we would also be involved at a national level with our other CEB counterparts in National Enterprise Awards and Student Enterprise Awards. So we're there to promote enterprise and local economic development in the county, Colin.
It was started in 1993. If my memory serves me right, 1993 was also a recession.
Yes.
And here we are, yet another recession. I think there might have been one in between that as well. Has the remit that was there in 1993 changed to what it is now? And also the fact that, I suppose, not if, but when the country gets back up on its knees again, it'll probably on the back of the small and medium enterprises. Are you probably getting a ton of more resources now to sort that problem out, aren't you?
That's a very optimistic view you have. In 1993, yes, there was a recessionary times. That's one of the reasons the boards was set up at the time. The board services have actually broadly remained the same right through, and there's no difference really in the services we provide now and what would have been provided back in the 90s. Even in the good times, the services were still being available, not to the same level. So the board has had to adapt in terms of what it has to offer according to what the economic climate is. Obviously now there's much more pressure on our resources. We don't get any more resources. We still pretty much are getting the same, if not probably a lot less now. And I don't see that changing going forward. I mean, the boards themselves will have to change at some point in the future as well. But we feel that we kind of are very adaptive and flexible, and that's one of the key things about the Enterprise Board. We're working on the ground, we know a lot of our clients, and we can respond very quickly to what it is that people want. And that's good, and that's very important at a local level.
And has the assistance that people are looking for changed? I know I just said has what you've given changed, but have what people are now looking for? I suppose, 5, 6, 7 years, if there was a redundancy scheme somewhere, you got a very good payoff. Any redundancies that you hear of now, you get your statutory, so nobody has a big pot that they did have 5, 10 years ago to start something up. Are people coming to you now with different needs?
Yes, even though we've had to respond to whatever the economic climate is, we do have to. A lot of our programs and our supports are based on what we feel the needs of the clients are, and what we from our dealings with clients on a daily basis, we have to adapt accordingly. So obviously in the last couple of years, probably since 2007 really, we would have noticed a change in terms of people now becoming under more financial pressure. So cash flow is an issue, people getting paid is a huge issue. Marketing and sales is a big issue, and that's particularly for kind of newer businesses, we'll say less than 2 years. Then you would have existing businesses who maybe are in business quite a long time. They have had to upskill themselves, or maybe they've had to take a step back and look at what way they're running their business, and maybe they've had to come and do maybe a management development program with ourselves, or they've had to retrain themselves or their staff. They've had to diversify, look for new products, new services. So we try and facilitate that, and we're very much work in the role of facilitation, and that could be, as you would have experience of, maybe participating in a cross-border program. So we would be constantly looking at ways of supporting and assisting clients for them in order to grow and sustain their business if they're in business, and then if they're very new, trying to support them really to see if they can keep going and to get to the next step within their business.
So am I right in saying from what you were saying there that the Enterprise Board just doesn't help new and fledgling businesses? If you could be established for years or generations, and you can still, if you have a board meeting and you say, look, things aren't going well, we have to change what we're doing, or we're not going to survive, a business like that could go to the Enterprise Board and they could still be assisted, is that right?
Yes, once a lot of our clients would start off maybe many years ago, maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago as one person. That business has now grown to maybe 10. We can still have businesses up to 10 employees. So we would have a lot of businesses who are still in contact with us 10 years later, and it could be a family business, so that's part of the advantage of us, I suppose, at local level, is that we tend to build relationships with our clients over the years, and we get to know them, we get to know what their needs are, and they do continually come back to us looking for various supports. It could be a website support scheme, it could be some mentoring for a particular issue that's arisen within the business, or as I said, it could be a management development program that they want to participate on. So yes, we have long-standing relationships with clients as well as new startups. We still would work very closely with businesses that have been there for quite a while.
Robert Fegan came into us to talk to us about his business Lakeland, which is kind of split into two areas. One was the office equipment and the other was the security. He started off by telling us how they began with office equipment and did very well on it, but obviously saw the way things were changing. A photocopier, a computer, a fax machine and a telephone were all being replaced possibly often by one piece of equipment. So he saw his margins and his area of business getting smaller, so they looked for another area, and that area was security, gate installations and security alarms. So he came in and explained to us all about the business in the Lakelands group.
About 4 years ago we diversified into security, and we supply intruder alarms, CCTV systems, gate automation and access control. And now with the PSA have actually licensed all of that, so anyone now who's putting cameras in or an intruder alarm or access control have to be licensed by the PSA. I know they've had some ads on telly there as of October, because the 1st of October they brought this out. All through October they had ads on saying that there were hefty fines for anyone caught using non-licensed installers.
So if I went into Woodies and got myself a DIY cam and stuck it up from my mother's house, that's a grey area, because we've been pointing out that them, so they were kind of saying, well, if you buy one and put it on your own house, it's all right, but if you buy one for a business, it's not all right. Is that, okay, obviously that's great for your business and other businesses in it, but are we not going back to the old days where you had monopolies? We were looking for a freer market.
Yeah. Well, I suppose on the security side, because security can be a serious issue, and there were a lot of cowboys out there who didn't really know what they were doing. They're kind of half putting it in. It wasn't put in properly. Wasn't tested to see if it was working. Now you have an audit every year, and the auditing company can come down and they can say, okay, I want to have a look at 2 of your jobs, and they'll pick what jobs they want to come out. They'll test the job, make sure they're done right, and if they're not done up to a certain standard, then obviously you have your license could be revoked.
Did your license cost much?
It costs roughly about just over 2,000 a year.
2,000 a year.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
you're a reasonably large sized company. If I was to start up tomorrow as a one-man security company, would it be the same?
Yeah, it's the same unless your turnover is in the millions. So until you have a good range before your price changes.
So does that make it difficult for new businesses to start up? Like all business, if we go back to when you started Lakelands, you were probably like myself. You had a few bits and pieces in the back of the van. You had the house phone routed to the mobile, and away you went.
That's it. Yeah. It is making it difficult for young people starting out in it, but once you get rolling, it will take a time. But once it gets rolling and you start to get a few clients behind you and get your name out there, it will eventually pay off. It will eventually pay off.
And that's 2,000 every year. So you'd want to be doing quite a big, reasonable turnover for, you'll get your wages out of it, but for your profit, it'll be a fair dent into it.
There would be a fair dent into it, all right. You're talking a numbers game, really. You have to have a good few jobs behind you, really, before you can start. And
is the security companies in general happy with that coming out?
I would say in general, no. No one likes paying out license fees for anything.
I know nobody likes paying license fees, but the fact that it keeps business in a smaller group.
It's yes, it would keep business in a smaller group. Yeah, and then anyone who is doing it is qualified to do it. They're trained to do it. And for say, for instance, you wanted to put an alarm in your house, you know, once you use a licensed installer, it's going to be done right. It's going to be up to standards. You know, if the authorities come down and inspect yours, you know it's going to be up to standards. But the last thing someone in the business wants is to go out and put in a system that's not in right, and then have to go back and rectify everything afterwards. You're not going to make money doing that.
That's true, and I suppose apart from anything, it'll put the cost of the end product up to the consumer.
Well,
naturally, because it's a business cost.
Yeah.
Now, does that cover everything that you do? You install gates, you do put up cameras, and you do alarm systems, or have you to go and get a separate license for each one of them?
No, the one license will do them all. But at the moment, you don't have to have a license for the gates. But they're talking about it.
I suppose everything now is so high tech and energy sensitive. We forget about the old-fashioned products. They don't need any electricity and work either on wind or just a bit of heat. Andrew Pearce of J&B Hope Limited came in last programme of the year to talk to us about his range of products, which are based on an Amish store that he saw in Ohio while he was working for the Air Force in America.
I was only chatting to a young guy there 2 nights ago, and the subject of the internet came up, and he's in college, and he said, like, if the internet was down, even for a day, oh God, I don't know what we do. You know, and people have become that way. And the idea of a store that uses selling products that uses no or little or no energy, it must be amazing for people to grasp.
Well, we like to think that it is certainly something different, and we don't sell anything in the shop that requires electricity. Okay, we sell things that work on a stove and require a heat source, so whether that's solid fuel or electric or gas or whatever, it really doesn't make any difference. But yeah, it has created I suppose a bit of interest, and people like an element, the idea. There is something about maybe the timing is right with sort of the demise of the tiger as well, about maybe slowing things down just a little bit and trying to be that little bit more self-sufficient and to be able to do things off the grid that just don't add to the power bill.
And what are some of the products that you do?
Some of the most popular products, certainly one of the ones that gets a lot of attention is the close air, the mechanical, the pulley close air. Put the pulleys in the ceiling and run it up and down. You know, so okay, one of these things will cost you about €80, and within a few months will pay for itself.
Will not buy me again? Yeah, it's.
Every house here, I understand, because everyone that comes in, like, oh, we used to have one of those in our house. And it was over the range, and Granny had it, and we all took them out. Whatever it was, we redid the house, and they're all gone now. And I didn't even think you could get these anymore. But yeah, they're the lats with the metal frame. I've actually been into some houses. I've seen some that are wood, all made of wood, and you can lower them and raise them over the range, over the
cover. So these are the equivalent of what we'd call a clothes horse. I don't know what they call it.
Yes, that's right, but they're on pulleys.
But they're on pulleys, and
you can raise them up out of the way.
Raise them up out of the way.
Yes, and I mean, people have been people come in, they talk to us about what they're trying to do, what they're thinking of. Someone was looking at one, they thought, well, this would be a great thing to put over the bathtub, simply because there's so much wasted space over the bathtub, and it was perfectly. It's a model that's perfectly flat. You can fold your towels, things like that, and put them up on the way, and they look really, really good. Another person was looking for one to put in a press, by the cylinder, just a bit, again, to take advantage of tall ceilings and things like that.
I don't know what to call them in the States. We call them the hot press.
Yeah, the hot press. Yeah, the hot press.
I'm sure you have a better name for them over the States.
The closet. But we don't even have hot presses. I don't even. And then just to put them in the utility rooms and people that do have the the Rayburns, the Agas, or something like that. Trying to bring them back. So they're very popular.
So basically you get your clothes dried now for free, effectively, because, again, everybody is cutting back on electricity now. Bills have gone through the roof. And one of the things that if you're in the ESB hub, or if you check out the web or magazine, one of the biggest user of electricity is the tumble dryer.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So apart from clothes area, what else have we got?
Well, we do at the moment a lot of cookware, but I also do. I mean, some things that also get a lot of attention are we have a flour mill. It's a tabletop flour mill. You do flour a few cups at a time in order to make your bread. and then an oat flaker where you can take the oats, the oat groats, and run them through this flaker and make your own porridge. So you can buy a bag of oat groats for about, I don't know, 25, 30 euro, right? And then you can take that, it'll last you for a long time. You can get up in the morning and roll your oats. You can also use it to make crumble, bread, things like this.
So again, coming from a city background where if we wanted our porridge, we went to the shop with. You're talking about getting the oaty things that grow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
You put them in the top, turn it, and then
wind it up
out at the end.
It comes out, and it's really, really good. We get our oats from Flavin's, and it's the exact same oats that they use in their own process. In fact, Flavin's came up because when I was getting the oats from them, they came up and actually got one of my little flakers to take it back, and they have a little museum that they put up in Florida, Waterford or Wexford, Waterford, I think it is, right? Yeah, and but it's so neat, and it's so good. It's so the oats, the oat groats as a whole grain. I mean, they really don't go off. You know, it's only when they're processed and they're broken that they actually go. You need to put a sell-by date on them. Yeah. But the oat groats will.
It's kind of the equivalent of Ballygan water. You know, their tagline is filtered through locks for thousands of years, put in a bottle, and the end best before 2013. You know? Obviously, it's the same with the oats.
With the oats, yeah, but that with the groats, it's not the case. The groats, interesting. Coffee beans. You do a lot of coffee as well. The coffee beans, the whole beans, they don't go stale. Just like the whole oats and the whole wheat. They don't go stale. It's only when you crush them, right, when you grind them, that they will actually go stale. So by having the whole the wheat, the oats, or the whole coffee bean, you just use it as you go, and it's fresher.
Now, the content that you're watching right now is actually made by a company called Drumlin Media. It's the supplier of media to this station and to many other areas in corporate and commercial work. The owner of Drumlin Media, Brian Daly, came into the studio, talked to us about how this program is made for starters, how other products they've done, and how they have helped other businesses get their message to the wider public. So Brian, you're very welcome to a program on effectively your own station, so you're welcome.
Thanks, Colin. It is nerving in a sense. The control room is my comfort zone, and to be in front of the camera, it's not a thing that I relish, but
well, this way you'll have empathy with the guests that do appear on. I suppose before we start talking about Drumlin Media and Cavan TV and the other platforms, we might find out a little bit about Brian Daly.
Well, Brian Daly, married to Frances, 3 children. I suppose you can't really call them children now because they're of voting age and it'd offend them. So the oldest by Rory, and then Anne works in Dublin, and Orla still at Loretto. And so basically, I've had the passion for video and photography all my life. I've had a technical background all my life, so I decided I would take early retirement and devote my energy to the emerging technology that's web TV.
Before you got actually into web TV, I won't say in the past, but you still have Drumlin Media, which was the vehicle for this and many other projects. What is the basis of Drumlin Media?
Well, Drumlin Media is, well, it would form from a hobby in a sense that over the years I've been involved in photography and video for maybe nearly 30 years, and kept with developments in that technology. Had the interest in all aspects of it. I still would have quite an interest in stills photography, but now with the emergence of Drumlin Media, I don't have the same opportunities for stills. But Drumlin Media then evolved from the hobby side of things, that when you begin to realise that there's a market there, that the things are moving in a certain direction, you have to decide, am I going to remain at the hobby level, or are you going to go with what's happening and develop it into long term? It's not I suppose it's not profitable at the moment. I've invested a lot of my own resources into it, both time and finance, but the trends are moving towards revenue streams from it.